Okay, let's see if this works at long last. Alrighty, let's see. Oh, come on. You can do it. I believe in you. Come on. Oh no, not responding. Yes, finally, at last, let me present to you Blightfall. Now, this is my absolute favorite mod pack, and I have had a hell of a time getting it working. But hopefully, let me check. Oh, taking inventory. Let me check and see. Seems like it's recording well. Seems like the game is working. Awesome. Cool. All right. So, first things first. Quest book. Blightfall. It looked like a perfect planet, smack in the Goldilocks zone, full of minerals and even complete with pre-existing plant and animal life. When the scientists at Space Command saw the scan results, their jaws hit the floor. Plans to make a colony ship started that day. 4 years later, the starship Jaded set out on her maiden journey. But now that we've arrived, it's clear that things are not as they first appeared. A seething, teeming purple biomass covers the surface, spewing forth malign alien entities that cruelly murdered the initial scouts. We aren't sure if the scans were wrong, if something happened in the few years it took to warp here, or if Space Command was just lying to us. But this is not the paradise we were promised. We're leaving the rest of the colonists in cryostasis for now, and sending you down to the surface as our last attempt, before giving up and taking Jaded and her colonists back to homeworld. We've got little to offer you besides a glass bioshelter to keep the aliens out. Resources are limited, and we're only willing to invest so much more in what will probably be a failed expedition. But if you're resourceful and lucky, perhaps we can find a way to make this colony work after all. I love Blightfall. Love it. So, these are your quest books. The quest books are a little bit like data pads, I guess. Sci-fi data pads, but, we don't mention that they're made of leather. So, we are in a ship right now. I'm not going to explore the whole ship just yet because, spoiler alert, moving around causes your food to decrease dramatically. That is one of the major problems in this game. You have to worry about starving to death, and it's a lot harder to stop yourself than it is in normal Minecraft. I'll get into that a little bit later. So, Mirabelle Hackett is our first member of the command team of the Jaded. Right click to talk. Just step into one of these pods to get started. If you're on a team, make sure to use the same drop pod as the rest of your team. Which one? Pod Alpha is headed to what used to be a fertile grassland. It's probably the easiest place to get started. Beta heads into the savannah, which is only a little more difficult. Gamma puts you in a taiga. Delta drops you off in some clay arches. Epsilon puts you in the middle of a desert. Omega is by far the hardest, dropping you off in a biodome under the ocean. If you're alone, go to Pod Alpha. If you're adventuring with others, you ought to form teams. Each dome has enough arable land to support 3 people or so. If you have more than that, you'll have to discuss amongst yourselves who gets which pod. Any advice? Well, most people don't bother to ask. Here are a few tips. Hunger is going to be a problem. Yes, it is. Try not to run or jump. Build stairs to conserve energy if you mine deep. The purple biomass will hurt you if you step on it, but not kill you if you stay well fed. Make sure to go on scouting expeditions to impress the leadership. You can use that goodwill to requisition food later if you get in a tight spot. Seriously, we expect you to ask for food. There's no shame in it. Speaking of that, don't forget to ask Driscoll for seeds whenever possible. You need to keep your diet varied. 2 stacks of bread does not a healthy diet make. Driscoll's seeds will help with that. Anything else? Not a whole lot. If you manage to get food controlled, then you can use the old tried and true base development principles you know and love. I hear you're an expert at that sort of thing. Branch mining, high density farming, combat undead and explosive monsters. We hired the best, right? All right, Mirabelle Hackett has given us her advice. Now allow me to proceed to completely ignore it, because I love Biodome Omega. Biodome Omega is by far my favorite, and you'll see. Look over here. Oh, Alpha, so nice, shiny, and oh yeah, Beta, and oh man, even Gamma is all nice and shiny, and you go through and you get to Omega, and gee, someone really should. Oh yeah, small, small. No, yeah, I really do love Omega, and I'll get into that. But there's one thing we need to do here on board the ship. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, you can see there's items flowing in the pipe up here. I'll get into that in a minute. So, this is the situation room. We need to do this before we drop down, or I guess we don't need to do it immediately, but it helps to do it. Captain Shitake, right-click to talk. You're up. Good. We need you. This planet has not been kind to the other scouts. What happened? Some went insane and turned on their companions. Some were haunted by swarms of alien insects. Some were brutally murdered by, alien chickens, for lack of a better description. At any rate, you are our final hope. What do we do? See that view screen over there? The red, pulsating parts are filled with a purple alien biomass, hostile to terrestrial life. We need you to find a way to get rid of it. As you clear away the alien biomass, come back up here from time to time. You can run another scan whenever you want to see how much progress you've made. How do I rescan? Right-click the top of the scanner block to rescan. The scanner block is the one set into the table in the middle. The scan might take a few minutes. Feel free to wander off while you wait. It does take a while. How do you track progress? There are 2 ways to monitor your progress. The best way is to look at the gauges on the walls of this room. Each of the 24 gauges represents a different area of the continent. As you clean the area, the gauges will light up. Also, right-click on the side of the scanner, you can open up a window that will let you print badges that represent your progress. Each zone has 3 badges, a bronze, a silver, and a gold. You can print badges to show off your progress. They'll fit great in item frames or look great when up on drawing racks. As you clean more of the planetary surface, more badges become available to print. In fact, you can get your first participation badge just by running a scan. Oh, bronze badges! Oh! You absolutely cannot melt down your bronze badges to make a pickaxe head. Those medals were given to you by your country. Wear them with pride or don't bother them. Okay, fine. Sure thing, Captain. So, having talked to him once and exhausted all of the dialogue options, a new one appears called Just Here to Chat. Welcome back. Did you need something? Just here to chat. Wait, really? Thought the players these days didn't want to bother with anything that didn't directly further the plot. You seriously just want to talk? Yeah, totally. I'm flattered. Really, really flattered. But I actually don't have all that much to say. I'm kind of embarrassed now. But no, this sort of exploration must be incentivized. Tell you what, next time you come by, I'll give you some of my rations. I hope it'll tide you over when you need it most. Thanks, you're great. And he is. What kind of people would live on such a planet? He is kind of great, because here, early on, right at the beginning, yeah, we're definitely going to need that extra food. Alright, there's the warp chamber. We don't worry about the drop computer just yet. We have no warp we actually have accessed yet. So, Mirabelle Hackett, good day to you. I pick Omega, the derelict Omega pod. You will be assigned to Team Omega. This last remaining biodome is located under the ocean. This means you will have less room near your base to mine. Farming will be harder. There appear to be signs of alien life coming from nearby mine shaft. This is not a good place to start. Are you sure you wish to proceed? There are other landing sites available, you know. No, I take it that's why this pod looks so derelict. Yeah, I've always had a death wish. Very well. Initiating transport sequence. Here goes nothing. And here we are. Biodome Omega. There we go. That is our silverwood tree. Now that we're here, oh yeah, this is the teleporter beacon. Transporter beacon. Transport to Biodome Omega is now unlocked. Cool. We can use that in the teleporter later. So this tree is very important. This tree is the only thing keeping the alien infection out of your base. Well, that and the water. So, Silverbell bookcase. Well, notice it's just full of quest books. And I think they give you this many just in case you lose someone, you die. So I'll put one of those away. So, quest book. There we go, that's the intro. Alright, you see quests, all of the quests you have available and all the ones you've completed. Lives, hardcore mode is not active. This game is hard enough without it. Not currently in a party. I do intend to do the solo. Mission outlook, concerned, which means I haven't gotten any reputation with the staff of the Jaded yet. And here you'll see the Dark One's impression. I'll get to that later. So for now, we have 2 quests with unclaimed rewards. Alright, so you see we have a variety of different... Each one of these is a person, basically. The instructor, for example, is Dr. Fairchild. And Fairchild's introduction is here. Fairchild's tasks teach you the basics of how to survive on the hostile alien planet. Give you a good foundation for further exploration. We can't access the supplier or the geologist yet. We have John Rushton, Sergeant First Class, who is our scout. He's the one with the unclaimed rewards. That is because we have explored a transporter beacon. Now to scout, bring your best armor and weapons. We've found more of these strange trees that repel the purple biomass. I'll send you to those places specifically. While there, try to set up some sort of fortification so you can have a safe, stable outpost for more mining and farmland. We've dropped off transporter beacons in little glass boxes near the trees. Once you find one, activate it by right-clicking it. Then, anytime you want to, you can teleport between it and your base by right-clicking on it again. This lets you distribute your base between many small, isolated chunks of clean land across the continent. If you find any of the biodomes belonging to the other teams, you can right-click their transporter beacons to pop by and visit whenever you'd like. And register as Team Omega. Welcome to Team Omega. Good luck. Alright, so this was a location task. We have visited Biodome Omega. Now, that opens up all these other quests, but we need to complete a few quests elsewhere before we can open that. So, next to the Paranormalist. Dr. Sprouse, quantum physicist by degree, does a little bit of everything, trying to explain what others consider unexplainable. So, basically, Dr. Sprouse is one of my favorites here. Also gives us a little hint that this entire planet is covered with some strange resonant energy. Most of his quests will be exploring exactly what that is. We have the colonist. This is Pulteney, elected leader of the colonists on board the Jaded, has the vested interest in making sure this planet becomes a habitable place for civilian population. She's a, well, Tell me, have you been cleaning the pollution or just playing errand boy for the military and scientists? She's a bit like that. The xenobiologist. Hello, I am Dr. Bryson, the xenobiologist of this expedition. Could you perhaps collect some samples of the local fauna? In other words, bounty hunt. Now we have the engineers grayed out. We can't access that yet. You see here the black market is grayed out. And the dark one. There's the dark one again. So, first we have the instructor. First quest of the instructor. What is this thing? This device, in other words, the quest book, in addition to letting you communicate with the leadership of the Jaded, can also transmit items to us by breaking them down into data and beaming them to us. You can also receive items from us in the same way. It's a technology based on the ME networks, but more limited. Try sending us a dirt block by breaking one nearby, returning to this menu, and then clicking the Manual Submit button you see in the lower part of the screen. Please note, if you ever lose this book, you can craft a new one out of a blank pattern in either coal or charcoal. Fair enough. And already, you'll notice, our first task is not as easy as it seems. We do not appear to have any dirt. Well, not up here at least. Here, need to get a little bit of sand so I can use it as a step ladder. Now we have this. This is the abandoned mine shaft. So, yeah, cobwebs here too. You will notice there's glass down here walling us off. Oh yeah, and that. Glass down here walling us off from the rest of the mine shaft and keeping out that purple goop. We definitely want that purple goop to stay away, but thankfully down here we have 2 pieces of dirt. We will need them both. Alrighty then. Quest book. Manual submit 1 piece of dirt. And my reward is +1 reputation. Claim reward. Alright, requisitioning items. You're going to need to see the requisition officer, Corporal Driscoll. He'll give you items to help you in your mission using the same interface you used here. Why don't you ask for a starter sapling? Right-click until you get to the crew menu, then click on the supplier to enter Driscoll's menu. Ask for a sapling from him, then show it to me, and I'll tell you what to do next. Okay, so, need a sapling. So we go back, and we'll see the supplier is now available. 1 quest with unclaimed reward. I have an apple oak sapling straight from the homeworld you can have. This one won't cost you any goodwill because we can't reasonably expect you to start a colony without giving you a tree. After that, if you want to dig deeper into our emergency agricultural supply, it'll come to the attention of the leadership, so try not to ask for too much. So Driscoll is basically your shop, and that mission outlook, the reputation that you get from finishing quests, is more or less your, I don't want to say money, but it's your credits. So I have 1 credit, which means that if I were to, well, if I accept this reward, it doesn't cost anything because it's the starting sapling, but claim reward. Now I've got a sapling. Later on, these various items will unlock, and each one will take away a certain amount of reputation when you accept it. So, you've got to keep an eye on how high your reputation is, or else they will cancel the mission on you. Alright, show you the sapling. Claim reward, which is 10 mission outlook and a bunch of bone meal. We'll need both of those. Getting wood. Unlocks 3 quests elsewhere. Cool. As you've probably heard, the planet is mostly covered in a poisonous, hostile, purple biomass. We dropped you in one of the few spots that seemed safe. I think it has something to do with that silver tree in the center of your containment area. Better not chop it down. That could be disastrous. Instead, use the bone meal I gave you to grow the sapling you got from Driscoll, and use its wood to start crafting. Fair enough, I can do that. So here's the first trick to this which I learned, which is, since you're technically growing trees indoors, you've got to worry about two things. First of all, you've got to worry about not giving the tree enough space to grow, but also because our entire base is just on top of this hollow patch of mineshaft, you've got to be careful of where you're going to actually dig. So here's the trick that I learned. Generally, if you start and you look between these lamps on the floor, if you just go to the intersection of where those lamps are, there we go. I think that one should be safe. So we have a tree, and bone meal is one of the only resources in this game which is actually plentiful, thankfully. So, come on. Don't need you to grow it. Ah, there we go. And chop, 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 chop. Wood. Wood exists. Wood. There we go. All right. I will create a crafting table. Finish out that third quest. Claim reward, which is 1 mission outlook. Excellent. Now you see we have 3 more missions all opened up. But I think I'm going to leave you here for this episode. Be right back. Waiting for this tree to hopefully drop me some saplings. Preferably an apple. Trying not to run around too much. Trying to save my starting hunger. So, thank you for watching this episode, and we'll get right